Hello, everyone. Good Thursday morning to you. Certainly looking forward to the topic today. Thank you for joining us for reducing your business objects operational and technical costs. My name is Nathan Crook, and I am joined by Lisa Neal and Pauline Lancaster, the All-Star team. Say hello to the people.
Hi, everyone.
And as I said, we're going to be talking about something near and dear to all of our hearts, and that's how to get more with less. It seems like everyone is pushing us to do this, and we're going to talk about how the 360 suite can be leveraged in lots of different ways to accomplish this. So before we begin, please feel free to submit questions at any time during the broadcast. There is a questions tab in the go to webinar control panel. I'm sure if you've joined us before, you've found this, but if not, there's a red arrow or kind of orange arrow that can be pull the menu out or collapse it. If you have anything, make sure you put it there. We'll be answering things as quickly as we can along the way, and then of course we've got a Q&A at the end. There will be a recording of the session that has already started. So that'll be sent out afterwards for consumption and passing along to colleagues that couldn't make it. And then finally, there's an exit survey that'll come up just to help us improve our process. Please help us get better. So let us know how we're doing. And without further ado, let's jump into the topic today.
Hello, everyone. This is Lisa. Also, in addition to what Nathan said in the panel, you've also got the option to download the topic that we're talking on today. So there's a PDF there available for you to download. A quick overview for those of you who are or are not familiar with us. This is our solution, 360 Suite. It's comprised of 8 modules. Each of them is designed to support the management and administration of business objects. And today we'll review and demo some of them throughout the presentation. First topic that we'll be going over is reducing your operational costs. Turn it over to you, Pauline.
Yep. So operational costs come in a lot of different buckets with regard to how 360 plays with helping teams manage business objects. And a couple of these that we're going to tackle today is determining licensing needs. How do we reduce the cost of upgrades and migrations? How do we measure outsourcing or even insourcing efficiency and service? The time and effort it takes to reduce administration. And of course, something that's near and dear to my heart is automating regression testing. As a business user, that is a pain and a huge source of time in any process. So, Pauline, why don't we share how each of these plays out?
Okay, the first topic we wanted to discuss was determine licensing needs. So being able to get information about what you're actually using. So the goal with licenses is to only pay for the ones that you use. In order to achieve this, you need to know what you are using. So to be able to evaluate the number of named user licenses and or concurrent session-based licenses in the context of actual usage. So here's an example of some reports that are available, pre-built Webby reports out of the box with 360 eyes that will give you that information. On the top left, that graph shows max sessions per month. So this is over the course of looks like 7 months. That date range can be specified when you run the report. It shows you where your max sessions are over the course of a year, maybe, so that will give you that information. On the bottom right, the average session per hour, so giving you information about where your peak times are throughout the day. So all of this can give you information so that you can ensure that you're purchasing the correct amount of licenses that you need for your environment. Okay, so we all know that upgrades and migrations are very time consuming and can be expensive. The number of resources that you need to actually accomplish some of the upgrades that you do. 360 Suite reduces the cost of upgrades and migrations up to 80% by automating the process of cleaning, testing, and moving content. Through the experience that we have with doing a lot of migrations with business objects, we have established 10 steps that we recommend for following to successfully upgrade your business objects environment. Each of these, a different solution in the suite can be used to accomplish each of these. It will help you identify unused content, isolate them, archive them, purge them if needed. And also identify any bottlenecks if there's, if you're moving to a different database or moving to the cloud. The City of Chicago is a user of 360 Suite, and they were able to save over $300,000 doing an upgrade with one resource. And going forward, they have been able to maintain a clean environment so they don't get into that situation where they have to do a huge amount of cleanup before an upgrade. So they were able to do their upgrade, accomplish it successfully with one resource, and then going forward, maintain a clean environment using 360 Suite.
All right, so we've got a poll that we've put together here to get more out of this webinar. So let me bring that up. So here's the first poll. From your experience, how long do you spend upgrading SAP Business Objects? A few days, a few weeks, 1 to 6 months, 6 months or longer? I'm interested to see how this plays out. And I guess there's probably some context around this. If you've got maybe the size of your landscape or the amount of years that you've been doing business objects, I bet that influences whether it takes shorter or longer. If you feel like sharing, feel free to put it into the question area. All right, looks like everybody has answered that's going to. I'm going to close this up and share the results. Here we go, just 5% at a few days. The bulk between a few weeks and 6 months or longer, and then right in the middle, 1 to 6 months. That is interesting. Pauline, is this how you've seen it play out as well?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times sometimes it's the planning, trying to find the right window where you can actually do the upgrade. A lot of organizations have year-end reporting and different needs, so they have to kind of shift things, and so sometimes it takes longer than needed. But yeah, that's probably what we've seen with most organizations.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna hide that and keep us moving.
Okay. Next up here, automate your regression testing. So, as you know, regression testing is critical typically after an upgrade or migration, even a database change or ETL change. And from what we hear too, is typically one of the more painful and laborsome things that you have to do during an upgrade. But regression testing with our solution ensures that data, pixels, security, and metadata remain consistent between versions, environments, and databases. Now, typically what we've seen is that customers take one of three approaches. They do nothing and hope for the best, or they ask end users to check reports manually, or you hire third parties to perform regression testing. And none of those ways are typically going to give you the best ultimate results. So Pauline will show a quick example of a better option for testing. Pauline?
So here's an example of automated regression testing with 360 bind. So this is a result after comparing a set of reports. So in this example, there were Webby reports. Left-hand side, imagine that's before the service pack upgrade. Right-hand side is after service pack upgrade. Any differences will be highlighted. whether it's data, you pick, in this example, we're showing images are being compared because there are graphs on the report, so the tops of the bars are highlighted in red. So by automating this process, 360 Suite makes it easy and quick to perform the regression testing. It gives you a repeatable process so you can run it over and over again without the need for outsourcing. The largest U.S. Motorcycle manufacturer actually was able to reduce the number of consultants needed for regression testing. They initially had 16 consultants overseas doing the regression testing whenever they had any changes to their environment. They were able to reduce that from 16 to two consultants and keep that sensitive data in-house and automate their process and obviously save a significant amount of money by using 360 Suite for the regression testing.
So that brings us to the next topic in line, reducing administration time and effort. As everyone here knows, delivering anything in business objects is a one-at-a-time effort, unless you have something like the 360 Suite, which is where we start into that reduction. So, Pauline, why don't you take us into this topic?
Okay, so, yeah, I didn't have too much for this. So this gives you the ability to be able to update and document your security. So 360 View gives you, if you have auditors or regulations and a need to document your security, you have a way of actually documenting it with 360 View. With Service Pack upgrades, a lot of times variables change, the syntax of the variables are needed. We had a customer that recently upgraded from, I believe it was 4.1 to 4.2, and there were some variables that needed to be updated. So the syntax, it was just a little bit of the syntax needed to be changed. They were able to do that in bulk with 360 View. So find all the variables that contain that particular syntax, export to Excel, do the bulk updates, re-import, and do the bulk updates. It would have saved, they had about, I think it was over 4,000 documents that needed to be updated, and having to do that manually would have been very time consuming. So they were able to do it in bulk, which saved a lot of time. Bulk updating crystal connections and recurring instances, that's often an ongoing task if you migrate crystals between environments, or a lot of customers have a need to change passwords frequently. So if you have a policy where passwords need to be changed every 90 days, it's to protect your data, but it also causes a lot more administration time and effort. So being able to do this in bulk is really helpful. Export them to Excel, make the changes in Excel, import that. That will also update your recurring instances, which is needed, and then also the non-recurring. So we often find where users will go in and just run the successful instances. Well, those are still saved with the old password. So being able to update all of those is important. And then the last, one of the last features that is often a huge time saver is being able to repoint UNV WebE reports from UNV to UNX. So if you're migrating your universes from UNV to UNX, being able to do the conversion is simple enough, but then your reports are still pointing to the old universe. This allows you to, again, export to Excel, assign the universe that you want to repoint. So even if you have multiple data providers, you can repoint those reports very quickly. It gives you a bulk way to do it, and obviously cuts down on the amount of time it takes to have to open each of those and update each data provider. So that's a huge time saver. Send it back to Nathan.
All right. So measuring outsource efficiency and service. So as I mentioned, this is an area where I feel like it could be as much in-sourced or just team efficiency and service as it is outsourcing as well. Being able to present to leadership, to business users, business units that you serve, as a BI organization around document actions and changes, being able to document sensitive content and usage. That one has been a huge highlight for a lot of customers where they are using business objects to either in healthcare or just SOX compliance or GDPR compliance or really any type of internal, external compliance, being able to tell the who, what, when, where, and why of action or visibility of information that is being documented and sent out in reporting. That has been a huge win for a lot of our customers. Providing quality control, so being able to rate and or deliver on what content's being used, what's not being used, being able to maintain a lean and mean environment and ensure that you're providing value to the business users. And then performance metrics, just being able to document and deliver information back to the stakeholders about the way that activity and information is being used in the landscape and growing, hopefully, around your usage and users. So definitely a huge benefit here.
Right. So here's just a few examples of some of the reports that will give you that kind of information so that you can measure the efficiency of the outsourcing that's being done. So looking at who's connecting to the environment, when they last connected, user activity. So what types of actions are these resources performing? Are they modifying reports? Are they creating new ones? What are the activities that are going on? And then maybe looking at schedule status. So if you have an environment where scheduled jobs are very important, you want to ensure that they're making sure that the job servers are running and the reports are processing and there's not a lot of failure. So getting metrics on those are important. I did want to address a question someone had about the automated regression testing. So whether it supports Lumira 2, currently it does not. That is in our roadmap to support that. So I don't have a date for that yet. And there was a question about does it include NNIT features? I am not familiar with what that is. So if you could elaborate, we could try to get that answered for you. Okay.
And next up, another quick poll. Let's see what we've got. Next question. So when you do perform an upgrade, what usually takes the most of your time? You've got the option of planning, promotion, regression testing, functional testing, or validating security. I'll give you guys all a few seconds to lock in your answers. I'm going to bet that the regression testing is going to have the highest amount of votes.
I'm not betting against you.
Yeah, we all agree.
Right? Okay.
Between that and planning.
Yeah, I'm still going regression. All right, close this up and publish these results. Okay, there we go. And winner, Lisa got it.
A silver nickel for you.
You were right.
I know. Regression testing, of course, came in first, and functional testing. Okay. Then we've got the equal place of planning and validating security. And promotion being the last one, taking the least amount of time. All right. I'm going to close that. And next topic up, this will be for reducing technical costs. I think it's over to Pauline or Nathan at this point.
All right, so reducing technical costs is, I think, at the top of most of leadership's to-do list every single year. But yet it's really difficult because data, information, reporting needs, all of this grows if you're doing business intelligence well. So it's a very hard balance to figure out how can we reduce the amount of hardware that we need to support a growing system? How do we reduce the bottlenecks and system crashes? How do we get in front of that type of behavior? How do we create a synergy between business and IT so that we're both marching in the same direction? You know, how can we increase availability and mitigate the risks of managing business objects? So these are the topics that Pauline's going to dive us into next.
Right. So yeah, here are some of the ways you can reduce the hardware requirements. So find never connected users. So 360eyes will generate a list that will tell you, if users have never connected or maybe they haven't connected in several years, and you can actually bulk purge those users, cleaning inboxes, deleting unused documents. So there was a question about any way to get the last usage of reports. You can definitely get that at 360eyes. It will give you a list. There's an out-of-the-box report that shows all the reports in your environment, so Webby and Crystal, and the last time they were run, if they haven't been run. So if this is a combination of what's in the repository along with auditor. So if they haven't been run, it'll show no action. A lot of our customers will use that report to determine, okay, anything that hasn't been run in 13 months, I want to flag it and get it out of the system. Or maybe it's 2 years, whatever you're comfortable with doing. Archiving instances. So we actually had a customer that had a need. They had to keep 7 years worth of instances, but they had hundreds of thousands of instances, and every time they upgraded, it was taking a lot of resources. So they wanted a way to get that out of the system. So we have a feature that will allow you to archive the instances, meaning get them out of your business objects environment, save them to a network share location somewhere. So you still have them, you meet your requirement to maintain those, but you're getting them out of business objects and freeing up that space. So I'm going to show you do a quick demo of how what the 360 suite looks like and how you can clean clean inboxes. Okay, so let me switch over to 360. So here I am going to log in. Okay, so this is 360 Suite. So in order to purge inboxes, I go to Tasks and Administration Tasks. I'm going to create a new task, give it a title. So I'm just going to call it Purge Inboxes. Frequency, so I can set this to be regularly, to a regularly recurring. Maybe I want this to run once a week. I'm going to start running on Saturday. So that will run. I'm going to select this option, clear inboxes. So these are all of these are different ways you can clean your environment or bulk update your environment. So what I'm going to select file system. So the system just needs a list of the groups that you want to purge for. So maybe you don't want to purge all of the inbox documents, just for certain groups. So this template just shows you what the tool is looking for. I've already created a file that contains all of my groups, so I'm just going to import that. And I'm going to purge based on the age of documents. So I want to actually purge anything older than 60 days. Let's see, where's 60 days? Wrong direction. Okay, so anything older than 60 days is going to be purged. So I select process, next. I can set a notification, so when the job runs, I am notified. I'll skip that. If there are any trigger events I want, then I get a confirmation. So here I have created that task. That should show up in pending in a second. So here it is. Here's my task. It's going to run this Saturday, and it's going to purge all the inbox documents older than 60 days. That will run every week and keep my environment clean. So this is a feature that might be of interest to you if you do have a lot of content. We're currently helping a customer with their migration to 4.2. They're actually moving to new servers, and we found that they had over 60,000 inbox documents. The amount of users they have is not that great, but they've never cleaned out their inboxes, so it's pretty significant. So that's going to be helpful for their move. Okay, so moving on.
Okay, so bottlenecks and system crashes. So we all know that poor performance costs time and money. 360 Suite can determine the optimal time of day to process reports and also compare the runtime of reports in different environments. For example, like on-prem versus cloud. Bottlenecks and poor performance can lead to system crashes. 360 Suite allows you to set up alerts for all of your business objects processes, so you are notified of any potential issues, before things go bad, allowing you to be proactive instead of reactive when you have some of these issues. Next up on this, Pauline is going to do another demo and show our solution of how we can help with identifying some of these issues.
Okay, so back to 360. So we do have the ability to set up monitors and watchers. So I'm going to create a watcher. You can actually create a watcher to show anytime. So I'm going to create a watcher that will show me or alert me anytime a Webby report is running longer than 30 minutes. Okay, so we have an option to these Webby metrics, so active Webby sessions. And I will click next here. So triggering this is just when do I want these watchers to run. So maybe you have jobs that run overnight, that they're going to run for an hour. You don't want to be alerted. You can set ranges so you're not alerted during times when you're going to have some reports that might take longer than 30 minutes. So this is definitely helpful for during the day, when users shouldn't be running reports that run longer than 30 minutes or whatever your threshold is. Display parameters, so I'm just going to keep the defaults there. So here's where I set up my alerts. So I'm going to say anytime I want this alert to be sent, anytime a Webby process is running longer than 30 minutes. I can restrict based on users or groups if I want to. How do I want that warning sent? I'm going to send it by email. Put in my email address. So I will receive an email. I can set up dynamic parameters if I want, whatever I want to include in the subject and the message. Okay, and I will add that. Okay, and then click next. I can also set up the logs. I'm just going to skip that, and then the validation. So here's my monitor. So now this will run, it will send me an email anytime there's a Webby report running longer than 30 minutes. This will show me the user that's running it. I'll be able to see the folder that it's running in. Even if it's an ad hoc report, so a report that a user just created, they hadn't saved it yet, you will see that as well. So you'll be able to contact the user, identify the issue, and make sure that they know, okay, you need to filter your report, or this report needs to be tuned if you're going to continue to run something that is taking up resources. So that is how the watchers work. We'll switch back to the presentation.
Yeah, sometimes the best offense is a good defense. Being able to know when things are going on before they affect users can be a huge win. So next is talking about how do we create that synergy between business and IT. It's something that is always there, right? Because IT has a set of goals and things that they're trying to achieve from supporting the business. And then the business, of course, has the goals of doing business. And so how do we align those to get better at giving the business information when they need, how they need it? Of course, it digs into a lot around BI on BI, providing metrics to both executives, end users, trying to help understand what is being used, what's not being used. Are we increasing our user adoption? A lot of people without access to this type of information, they've mainly got, all right, well, we added 30 new users this month or this quarter, and but that has really no relevance to the value of BI that's being given. Did any of those 30 users actually start running schedules or getting reports delivered or refreshing things in the system? Are we on a trend of growing that type of adoption inside of BI, which ultimately, when you're looking at business intelligence, adoption is your return on investment. that's how you know if things are moving in the right direction. So this part of our system, 360 Eyes, allows you to dig more into metrics, key performance indicators at an executive level, at an administrator level, at a user level. It really just depends on what type of questions you're trying to ask. And just like BI in the organization, you want to base that on facts. And this brings all the facts together of your FRS, your CMS, and your audit data so that you've got a full, complete picture of what's going on.
Okay, and just some examples of some of the reports. So we've had some customers that have had some need to charge back to their different departments in their organization. So they charge back based on usage. So this is a out-of-the-box report that's available in 360 Eyes that will show you, which groups are connecting or, are using the system the most. On the right-hand side, this is cost of development versus usage. So if you just went through an effort and spent some resource time on developing a new universe, being able to see, is it actually being used? So after, the first 3 months after it was developed, are you seeing usage? Maybe no one's using it. Was it worth the, worth the investment? So definitely getting some information. There's a lot of information that you can get out of 360 Eyes to answer some of the questions and make sure that you're getting return on your investment. Okay. Okay. So the next slide is mitigating risks. So a lot of customers, I work with a lot of federal customers, have regulatory requirements, and 360 Suite does provide information that you might need to meet those requirements. So whether it's SOX or HIPAA, FISMA, GDPR. So the solutions related to being able to document your security, segregation of duties, account recertification, being able to monitor sensitive content. So you can actually flag sensitive objects within your universes. You can either flag them manually, or 360 Unit will allow you to flag in bulk. And once you flag those, there are reports that will allow you to then report on where are those being used. So all those sensitive objects, maybe you've got patient data or social security numbers. Where are those used? Where are those reports being sent? Who's accessing those? Being able to monitor that. Regression testing, as we discussed, that obviously mitigates your risk. Reporting data that's not accurate is definitely a risk. So doing proper regression testing reduces the chance of reporting or inaccurate data. So being able to use the solutions to mitigate your risks is important. Okay. And there was a question, so around regression testing in Lumira 2. Someone asked whether we support Lumira 2. So with 360, right now, not with regression testing, but 360 Eyes will allow you to do impact analysis on your Lumira documents. So being able to see where different objects or SQL is being used across all reports, including the Lumira documents. Okay, and then the last topic we have to cover is availability. So 360 Suite ensures high availability. You'll have the ability to back up your environment with 360 Plus, do a full backup, scheduled nightly. It's always incremental, so you don't have to bring the system down to do a full backup. Unlike a typical recovery, you can also use this for restore for DR purposes. Typical DR recovery strategy involves backing up your business object server, so the FRS input and output directories, as well as the CMS database, and then restoring that. There's pointers all over the place to the source environment. With 360 Plus, you can restore from a backup very easily. There are no pointers. It's kind of standalone, so that you can have that available when you need to. We have a lot of customers that will use that and schedule that nightly, so they always have a readily available DR site. And even if it's just, you may not have a DR, a need for a DR site, but maybe just being able to roll back content if it's been deleted or corrupted. Or we had an example recently where a customer had installed a service pack, or it was just a fix pack, and they continued to develop reports. They developed over 10 reports, and then they realized the fix pack was not working and caused other issues, so they had to roll it back. Well, it rolled back properly, except for those 10 reports that there was some significant development done, and they couldn't get back. They had to apply the fix pack to fix them, which wasn't an option for them. But luckily, they had run a backup with 360 Plus, and so they were able to roll back to the previous version of the report without the fix pack applied, and they were able to get back up and running. So often it's not that something's deleted that you need to restore something, but other things come into play with having to restore. Okay.
Right. So final poll of the day really has more to do. Is there anything we can do to help? So just going to post this up. If we can do anything to support you from getting more information, getting access to a trial, any questions that we didn't quite cover here, let us know. We'll be happy to follow up afterwards and ensure that we're supporting you. Right. Give that just a few moments more. Really appreciate the attention. Do apologize for going over slightly today. We like to be timely, so unfortunately, the topic just was expansive today. You had lots to go through and go over. So I'm going to close this and keep us moving. We're known around the world as helping with business objects customers, and as you could tell from Pauline and everybody else here, customer success and support is what we pride ourselves on, what we come to work to do every single day. So if we can support you at all to help you achieve your mission, we look forward to doing so. Otherwise, join us for the next installment of the 360 Suite webinar series, and we will talk to you then. Thanks, everyone.